Hi, I'm Paul Simon, landscape horticulturist with the National Gardening Association. And today we're going to discuss how to build a raised garden bed. The first thing we'll talk about is identifying an area for your raised garden bed. Here we'll discuss identifying an area that maximizes sunlight exposure. Next, we'll talk about preparing the area of our raised garden beds. Here we'll talk about marking the location of the raised beds, removing turf and weeds, leveling the area, and installing landscape fabric and wire mesh. Next, we'll discuss building your raised garden beds. Here we'll talk about building the base frame and then building the rail cap. Next, we'll talk about adding garden soil, compost, and peat moss to your raised garden bed. Finally, we'll talk about the benefits of a raised garden bed. Here we'll talk about reduced compaction, moisture retention, soil quality, and aesthetic benefits. The tools we'll need to build our garden beds include one large box of 3.5-inch long galvanized deck screws, one 4-foot wide roll of landscape fabric or weed block, one 4-foot wide roll of woven wire mesh or chicken wire, two 2x10 by 8-foot long cedar boards pre-cut exactly in half, two 2x4 by 10-foot long cedar boards also pre-cut exactly in half. We'll need safety goggles. We'll also need some garden gloves. We'll need some staples to put our chicken wire down and secure it to the earth, an electric drill with a Phillips head bit. We'll also need a 4-foot long level, a Sharpie marker and pencil, measuring tape, twine or string. We'll need about 8 paint sticks or shims to mark the locations of our garden beds. We'll need wire cutters and scissors. We'll need a hammer, a shovel, pickaxe, and in terms of our soil supplies, we're going to need 4 bags of garden soil, 2 cubic foot, 1 bag of peat moss, 2 cubic feet, and 1 bag of compost, 2 cubic feet. All the lumber must be untreated natural wood, either cedar or oak. If you have had trouble growing a decent vegetable garden in the past, found that your garden isn't productive as you wish it to be, or perhaps you only have a small area to devote to gardening, a raised garden bed may be just the answer to a more vigorous garden. One of the biggest problems people have growing a garden are soil issues and airspace. Plant roots need good nutritional soil and airflow to the root systems. Compacted soils can especially hinder the growth of your vegetables, and in an ordinary garden bed, sometimes stepping in and compacting the soil in the garden is unavoidable. A well-designed raised garden bed will allow you to contain the soil efficiently and protect against compaction issues. Before we begin, let me introduce myself. I'm a landscape horticulturist with the National Gardening Association. I've got 20 years of experience in landscape horticulture, landscape architecture, and design. We were founded in 1973. We're a nonprofit leader in plant-based education with a mission to promote home, school, and community gardening as a means to renew and sustain the essential connections between people, plants, and the environments. So let's get started. Up next, I'll show you how to identify an area for your raised garden bed.